3 weeks ago, I stood staring at a wrought iron gate welded across the dirt path behind my house, the one that led straight to the lake where my son learned to skip stones. A bright white sign hung in the middle like a slap in the face. Private access, HOA, permit only. That lake used to be part of my backyard. By the end of that week, it would be mine, every inch of it, and the HOA that locked me out would end up paying me for water rights. I'd lived in Lakeside Meadow for 5 years, and that lake was why I bought the property in the first place. Every morning before work, I'd grab my rod, walk the trail, and watch the sunrise shimmer off the water. It was peace. Or at least it was until she showed up. Lorraine Matthews, HOA president, self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac. She wore pastel cardigans like armor and carried a clipboard like it was the Constitution. When I saw that gate, I knew she had her fingerprints all over it. "What the hell is this?" I muttered, reading the sign. A nasal voice behind me snapped, "That's HOA property now. Only authorized members can use the lake." I turned around, and there she was in her tennis outfit holding that rat-looking dog she adored more than people. "Lorraine, my house is right there, 15 feet from this gate." She smiled tight and practiced. The board voted to restrict lake access to reduce unmonitored use. "You'll need a permit, $200 a year. You're charging me to access the lake I live next to." She cocked her head, pure smug. "It's HOA property now. We negotiated a lease with the landowner. It's perfectly legal." I watched her strut away, little dog yapping at her heels, and something in me snapped. I'd had my run-ins with HOA nonsense before mailbox-color trash bins, some imaginary violation because I parked my truck too close to the curb. But this was war. That night, I drove straight to the owner's house, an old man named Callahan who'd lived there longer than anyone. "Tell me you didn't sell them the lake," I said. He chuckled. "Sell? No, son. I just let them maintain it for a few $100 a year. Would you sell it?" He blinked, set down his tea. "You serious?" "Dead serious. My boy learned to swim there. I'm not letting some clipboard queen fence it off like her personal pool." 2 days later, I owned the lake, every drop, every tree, every foot of trail. Cash deal. No loans, no loopholes. The deed had my name on it plain and clear. The following Monday, I drove a stake right behind that new gate and planted my own sign. Private property. No trespassing. I didn't remove their gate. I didn't touch their sign. I just made mine bigger. Then I sent the HOA a cease and desist for unauthorized use of private land. 2 days later, a knock rattled my door. It was Brandon Hayes, the HOA treasurer. Nervous, sweating blazer, 2 sizes too small. "Can we talk?" I didn't offer him a seat. "There's been a misunderstanding," he started. "We believed the land was public under cooperative lease. The board didn't realize." "Cut the crap," I interrupted. "You gambled I wouldn't fight back. You lost." He swallowed hard. "We're prepared to offer a partnership. You grant access, we maintain the area, pay you a small fee." "No," I said flatly. He blinked. "Excuse me. You heard me. If the HOA wants water from my lake, you'll sign a lease $2,000 a month for usage rights. Otherwise, shut off every sprinkler that draws from it." "That's not how this works." "It is now," I said, sliding the deed across the counter. "I've already filed the survey with the county. That water is mine." By the end of the week, the fountains at the clubhouse sputtered dry. The trail lights went dark. The flowers at the front gate shriveled. Word spread fast, and soon every neighbor knew the HOA's community lake wasn't theirs anymore. That's when Lorraine started losing it. She held an emergency board meeting that night. My neighbor Gloria, who lived across from the clubhouse, called me, whispering like a spy. "She's red as a tomato, screaming you're extorting them." "Good," I said. Let her choke on the irony. Still, I wasn't satisfied. They'd taken something from me and I wanted it back tenfold. So I filed a complaint with the State Real Estate Board false advertising. The HOA had been listing exclusive lake access for years. That's fraud. A few days later, an investigator named Nena called. "If your documents check out, that's a serious violation," she said. I sent everything. The deed, the fake lease, their marketing brochures. That same week, Lorraine retaliated. I came home to find a dozen envelopes taped to my door fines for unauthorized signage violation of aesthetics land misuse. All fake. I didn't even pull them down. I just took pictures and emailed them to my lawyer buddy. Let them keep digging, he said. They're burying themselves. But I'll admit for a moment I almost gave up. I was tired. The legal talk, the constant mail, the whispers from neighbors too scared to pick a side. I sat on my porch one night staring at the dark lake, wondering if I'd made it worse for everyone. Maybe I was the stubborn one. Maybe it was easier to just pay the damn permit and move on. Then my son came out holding his old fishing rod. "Dad, can we still fish there?" he asked. I looked at that kid, the way he gripped the handle like it still meant something, and I knew quitting wasn't an option. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "We can fish wherever we damn well please." A week later, I got an email from a guy named Jeremy, former HOA board member. "Thought you'd want to see this," he wrote. Attached was a PDF memo labeled Strategic Acquisition Plan. It outlined a plan to lease and secretly purchase surrounding land, including the lake, through an LLC owned by Lorraine's husband. They'd collected over $30,000 from residents under the excuse of clubhouse renovations. That money was being funneled straight into their shell company. I forwarded the file to my lawyer and the county fraud department. Within 4 days, the HOA's accounts were frozen. Lorraine was arrested for wire fraud and embezzlement. The entire board resigned within a week. The next month, the community voted to dissolve the HOA altogether. Unanimous. The gate came down. The signs disappeared. I left mine up, though. Private property. Access by owner only. Former HOA board members need not apply. For a moment, I thought it was over, but it wasn't. The deeper the county dug, the uglier it got. Lorraine's fake company had filed forged invoices, fake maintenance reports, even falsified vendor receipts through her niece's name. I thought I'd seen the end of it until a man in a Navy windbreaker showed up at my dock one afternoon. "Detective Greaves' Financial Crimes Division," he said. "We've uncovered something new. You need to see this." He handed me a zoning map. "These red zones, protected watershed. No construction allowed. But your HOA submitted altered plats claiming utility clearance. They installed illegal storm pipes." We walked the trail, stopping by an old concrete basin. He pointed to the buried PVC pipes snaking into the soil. They redirected stormwater into the lake. "That's felony environmental tampering." My stomach dropped. "You're telling me they poisoned the lake?" He nodded grimly. "And it gets worse. The contractor listed on the permit doesn't exist. I let them run tests. The results made me sick. For years, the HOA had been dumping leftover herbicides near the shore to save disposal fees. It had leaked into the lake, killing fish and driving away birds. The same water they'd tried to sell me access to. 3 former board members were charged with environmental crimes. Lorraine, already in prison, had 4 more years added to her sentence. The lake was closed for 6 weeks while cleanup crews in hazmat suits dredged the contaminated soil. It cost the county a fortune, but since the HOA had falsely registered the lake as public property, the government had to foot the bill. When the lake reopened, it was clearer than it had been in a decade. The fish came back first, then the turtles, then the herons. I remember standing on the dock one morning, the sun cutting across the water, and realizing something I hadn't before: power doesn't corrupt overnight. It starts small, with one person who thinks they know better. One unchecked vote. One quiet lie. Months later, I was called to testify at Lorraine's trial. The prosecutor called me the catalyst. Without my purchase, none of it would have unraveled. I sat on that stand, told the jury about the gate, the fake permits, the lies, and the toxic pipes under our feet. Lorraine avoided eye contact the entire time. When the verdict came guilty on all counts, she didn't even flinch. But I did. Because for the first time in months, I could finally breathe. The HOA was gone, but the scars it left on that lake, on this community, they'll last for years. In the end, I didn't buy that lake out of spite. I bought it because it deserved someone who gave a damn. Someone who wouldn't let greed fence it off and call it progress. And if there's one thing I learned, it's this. When someone locks you out of what's rightfully yours, don't break the gate. Buy the whole damn lake.